is Tariq Talk. Your host, Tariq Mendez, takes you on a journey with guests from all around the world. Broadcasting around the world. Around the world. This is Tariq Talk.
All right, guys. Today I'm so excited to be here with Deonté. Deonté, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Thank you so much for being on the podcast. I'm so excited we get to speak. Do you want to start by telling us your Instagram and websites? Everybody can check you out that's listening.
Sure. You can follow me on Instagram at Deonté GQ. That's DeonteGQ. Or at my business account, DGQ Culture. DGQ Culture. Had to make sure I spelled that correctly.
Nice. Thank you so much. Do you want to start off by telling us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I am a creative, an arts leader, an arts administrator. I really wear both hats interchangeably as a creative as well as like a creative producer. I think they both speak to just who I am as a person, as an individual. I find great joy in not just being an artist, but being an arts administrator that can help create programming, that can help create organizations and systems to influence the art that we make as well. So that's a little bit, I've been doing this for 15 years in different capacities. I started really young as an artist and doing local community theater. My grandmother used to write plays, and so I actually had my first start in her plays when I was a child, and then matriculated and started doing it professionally. I went to school for acting, then went on and got my master's degree in arts administration. So I've been doing this in a lot of different ways for quite some time now.
Well, congratulations. I have to say, you look so young. I thought you were younger
I
than
am
me.
young, don't worry.
Wow, I
am young, but I started really young too. So again, professionally, I've been doing it, probably 10 years, but 15 in terms of like training and, just doing community theater, local theater, and performing in different ways too.
Oh, wow. And was this something that you always, like as a child, wanted to do? Like, was this your dream?
I think so. I think I knew pretty early on that I was going to be a creative in some capacity. Like, I just knew that I loved performing. I knew that I loved theater. I loved the arts. And then I think not many people in high school think that they're going to work professionally on the management side of the arts. But I knew pretty early on. I think it was because I was bossy. Okay. And so I like to be in charge. I like to be in the rooms where choices and decisions were being made. So I knew pretty early on that I wanted to work in this capacity of the field as well.
Oh, wow. And what's your sign?
My sign? Yeah. I'm a Pisces.
Oh, you're a Pisces.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And then how, like, you mentioned your grandma was a playwright?
My grandmother was actually a choir director. Oh, so wow. She had a community choir for about 20 years, and she had about 150 young people in her choir. And so they would travel throughout the state singing at local churches. And then she went into writing these community plays, and she would put on productions for her choir. And so like my earliest memory of performing, I probably was like 5 in her productions. But I think the arts are just, I come from a family of singers. I come from a family that was involved in performing in different ways. So I think I just naturally grew up around it. So I had a natural inclination to perform and be a creative too.
Oh, wow, nice. I was going to say, like, do you think being exposed to that, like to the arts at such a young age has like helped you be where you are today?
Oh, absolutely. And I have to give a lot of credit to my mother. Truthfully, my mother was that driving force. She took me to theater. She put me in acting classes really early. I think she recognized the gift and creativity within me at a really young age. She took me to see theater. I remember some of my earliest productions and going to see shows in New York. My mom took me just because she wanted to expose me to the arts or expose me to different museums. And so she was a real driving force. So thanks, Mom. Shout out to Mom. I'm sure she'll watch. But she was really the one that pushed me. And then when I told her, I wanted to be an artist, of course, like most mothers, she was a little concerned of, she knew that I had a passion for it, but because not many folks had a professional career and were successful doing it in our community, she had concern that, how are you going to make a living? How are you going to sustain yourself? So she was also the driving force, I think, that pushed me into wanting to be an arts administrator and working behind the scenes as well, because she knew that there needed to be some sustainability and I needed to be well-rounded in my craft too.
Absolutely. And I think that's very smart, because a lot of people I interview, they complain that later on they thought about the business side and the logistics. They always think about the art and, having like this huge studio and painting all day. So I think that's very smart. That you're able to think that from such a young age, and shout out to mom again.
Yeah.
What advice would you give young creatives regarding that? Like, how important do you think that is, like, to know the business and think of it?
I think that is my advice. You need to know the business of your craft. So many people go and they pursue their art and they pursue their creative activity. By all means, they should, but you have to know the business that supports it too. Unfortunately, we work in a capitalistic society where we have to understand management. We have to understand business. We have to understand how money moves within the industry as well. So I think that was even one of the greatest things for me, is knowing the management side, so I could manage myself in a lot of ways, or manage the projects that I was working on. So, and I think it influences your work as a creative. When I'm on stage, I understand all of the decisions that went into getting me into the room, getting the production up, getting, the stage set. There was somebody meeting 3 months ago, probably, before we even got to this moment to perform. So I think people really need to understand the necessity of understanding the business that is behind their craft too.
Oh, that's amazing. And how's your day to day? Like, how's your creative process, would you say? Are you always thinking, like, are you able to multitask, like, from your business side of your brain to your creativity, and like combine both of them?
I don't balance as well as I would like to, truthfully. I think that because I do it so often, I interchange the hats, but I'll be honest, I'm not a creative as much these days, just because I've prioritized some other areas of life and in my work and what I do professionally, that I'm not performing all the time, but I am always thinking about the creative industry, in that I'm always thinking about what's the role that I play in the work that is being done. So whether I am an artist, whether I am a creative manager, what is the work and what do I get to influence in the communities and the productions and the creativity happening around me too. So I don't balance it as well as I would like to. I think in my ideal day, I might start my day doing some business stuff and then take a break and go be at rehearsals or do a production or be performing, and then come back to maybe my creative management side at the end of my day. Some days it's all creative management. It is all thinking about the systems and operation of the thing. And then I would like to find a little bit more time to be a creative if I could.
Nice. And what do you do, like, not to get burned out? Like, to always have that creative, artistic spark, especially, as you said, like, in a capitalist world.
Yeah. I try to go see art. I think I try to go see what drives and fuels me. I think sometimes when we are so busy creating the thing, we don't actually take a moment to stop and enjoy it. Yeah. So I think a big part of my refueling is stepping away and being able to just be a recipient of the art and take that in. And I think that oftentimes refuels me and brings me joy and gives me a little bit more peace, that it helps helps put it all in perspective and gives it purpose to me at the end of the day.
And do you have a future project that, if you didn't have to think of budget or logistics or strategy, is there a dream project for you that you have in mind that you would love to do?
I have my dream of opening my own performing arts center at some point in time. But again, that's my administrative dream project. Yes. I think if I got to be a creative, as an actor and as a performer, I always said that my dream role, if somebody just wrote the film and called me, it would be like a biopic on Sam Cooke. Okay. He was one of my favorite singers. And I think his story and his life was just so interesting that I would love to play that role in a biopic.
I don't know much about the acting world, but I love watching films and stuff like that. you have like previous actor experience, like you've done stuff like that?
Most of my work has been in theater. My
Theater.
background is in theater. My degree is in theater. So I haven't done as much film and television as I would like to. Some small independent projects here and there, but not as much theater, not as much as I've done theater. So I'm looking to get more into film and television.
Oh, nice. I mean, myself and I think the listeners, like, how does that work for like a creative person? Like, because I always, like, when I watch things like that, I'm always thinking like, do they like go, like, how do they leave themselves and become the character? Like, after they're done, does the character come home with them? Are they able to like turn it off? How does that work creatively for you?
For me, no. I think I've learned how to turn it off. I think, especially in theater, I think it's a little different in that we can turn it off and turn it back on a little bit easier sometimes than film and television, especially, theater actors. If you're doing a professional production and you're doing 8 shows a week or a whole weekend of performances, and then to go home with that weight of a character, that's a lot to carry sometimes. So I think we have learned as theater actors in particular how to live in the moment of the performance or the process in rehearsals. But then when we go home, I think most of us typically are able to turn that off.
And this is just like a nosy question because I love theater and I always wonder sometimes because, everybody's so professional, so on top of their game. I always wonder sometimes like when things go like off script, I always sometimes like I'm able to catch it and I see like the cast play it so smoothly. Mm-hmm. And if you're not paying like close attention, you're going to miss it.
Right.
But I think it's so beautiful how everybody's like unison. I was like recently, I can't say the name. I'll tell you later afterwards. But I went to this Broadway show and then the main actress dress got caught like stuck in the furniture. And then I saw everybody like, slowly start to dance towards her and then like, grab it, but very smoothly, like Michael Jackson type level, like, how does that work for you guys? Like, I always wondered, are you like prepared for that? Or is it just part of like growing up with like the business?
No. And I think oftentimes you are not prepared for it, but I think if you are prepared for the work and what you are supposed to do, when those unexpected things come up, you naturally know how to adjust and tend to it. I've had a few moments like that on stage myself, or cast members have had that experience. And I think that when you are locked into like, okay, what is the goal, the objective? What are we supposed to be doing? Anything else, it's just like life. Yeah. We come into a room and we know what we're supposed to do, and then something happens. You just naturally tend to it. And I think everything else around it just works itself out. So I think that a good actor knows how to respond in a way that doesn't disrupt the performance. And a good actor will build that into their process to say, how would I respond to this? And sometimes you really do get those catastrophic moments of like, okay, there's actually just no cleaning this up. Yeah. But again, a good actor will know how to embody that and go with it. I think, and this is like theater 101 and like insider of what we do as artists. There's often an exercise that we do as theater artists in rehearsals or warming up or just group activities and collective gatherings is yes and. So the idea is that we will accept what is given to us and say and add to it. So this moment has happened. Yes, it has happened. And I'm going to do this to add to the moment. So it doesn't, again, take away, but it adds to.
Oh, I get it. That's so cool. How were you able to like found your business as the founder? Like what made you like take the leap?
It was an interesting process. Actually, I transitioned out of an organization and doing some work with them for about a year and a half, and knew that I had a desire to do work my way. I've worked for other organizations for quite some time, but knew that there was also a void. So DGQ Culture, which is my creative practice and consultancy, I work specifically at the intersection of arts and culture and faith-based communities. I believe that the arts and faith-based communities are often talking to each other and about each other, but not in the same way that they have the same language or building real partnerships to advance their work. So my work is really at the intersection of helping these communities find strategy to advance their mission. My work is really thinking about strategy to help them advance their work and really thinking about how do the arts advance faith-based communities and how can faith be a strategy to advance creative practice for artists and creatives too. So I'm really excited about the work. And I think it came so naturally to me because it was like this epiphany moment that I had where I was like, no, this is my purpose. My purpose is actually at the intersection of faith. You know, I grew up in a Christian home, but I knew that my work and my purpose was to help other people of faith also think about how to advance their work, especially for creatives who are faith-based or creatives who are closely aligned to their faith, really thinking about what's the strategy to get their work accomplished. I think so often we don't think from a strategic mindset. And again, that goes with me being both a creative and a manager. So understanding the business aspect of it and finding a way to integrate that. So taking the lessons that I've learned, taking, you know, my areas of expertise and applying that into strategy to help people advance their work is really important to me. So I'm excited. We have some great things going on with the company right now. And I'm really finding a lot of joy in helping people realize their creative purpose too, and thinking about ways in which we can make their work better and stronger and get them to the goals that they're looking to have as well.
Well, and what's your your day-to-day routine? Like, how are you able to, you seem like a very positive person. You have very good vibes and energy. How are you able to, in the chaos of having your own company, having an executive director position, how are you able to, keep, your spirit and your faith so strong?
It's really my faith. My faith is my driving force. And I think for so long, I tried to keep them separate. We're kind of conditioned in certain ways if you are a person of faith not to allow that to come into your work. But what actually happens when we flip the narrative and saying, no, this is actually just who I am and I am embodying my faith, and my faith is actually my driving force. So when things get hectic at my job, when things are not going well with my business, when I am exhausted and tired from my creative practice, my faith reminds me, no, this is why you are doing it. It gives purpose to the work, I think. And I think that's what sets me apart and so many other people too. When you have a purpose to the work, everything else makes sense. Everything else kind of falls in line. So I have to step away sometimes. I need to go and refuel my faith. I need to find ways to express my faith. And I think I've been able to do that in the work that I do. And it reminds me at the end of the day, no, this is why you're doing it. You might be tired, but this is why you're doing it. Things might not be going right, but this is why you're doing it. And when it's not going the way that I want it to go, I think my faith reminds me, if you have faith in whatever it is that you are doing, it will get better eventually.
Yeah. So how are you able to is that what drives you to have like-minded people and to create amazing?
What you said was important, and it's the core of the work that I do is our values. And so, and I often go back to how do our values align? I always say we don't have to agree. We may not agree on politically. We may not agree, according to our faith. But if our values are aligned, we can work together. We can be in community together. We can partner together. So for me, the perspective that I have, particularly through my business, is values alignment more than anything. I always say I am not afraid to work with people of different faiths. They might have a faith or a belief that is different from mine. But if our values are aligned, we should be able to be in community together. We should be able to come together. And I think that's another purpose of my business and the company. And my vision is really thinking about how do we create spaces for people of diverse backgrounds, for people of different walks of life, or people of different faith beliefs to come together, work together, be in community, and have real, authentic conversations about the challenges and ways in which we are alike too. I think so often people just think, oh, if this group over here has a different belief than me, then they are just completely different. No, we're all people at the end of the day. And I think we have to learn how to respect and honor and recognize people of different faith and different beliefs as well. But again, how do we use that as the driving force to what we do as people as well?
You know, it's amazing because I was going to say, wow, that's so cool. Like, you're such a cool guest. But then it made me realize, like, this is how the normal should be. You know
Right,
what I mean?
yes.
It's like, I feel like today people are like so caught up on, political issues and geographic issues and things like that, that we forget, I feel like a few years ago, like that's, at least probably for us growing up, that's how it used to be, you know? It wasn't like the statistics of the person, but like how's your vibe? Like, how do we get along? What are the values? So it's pretty amazing that, you're able to do all of that.
And that's the thing. I don't think people realize faith actually has so much to do with who we are as people. And it might not be religion. I think we get caught up in the religious aspect of faith sometimes. But sometimes it is just like, what is your driving force? What is your purpose? What is calling you to do what you are doing in life, in the world, in your community? And I know for me personally, faith is that. It's the vehicle in which I am able to do work. It is the way in which I am able to engage with people. It's the way in which I'm able to make change. Like, I think a big part of the work that I do is also about changing systems, changing mindsets, changing perspectives on things. And I think the way that I've been able to do that is through art and faith, two things that are just natural and core to who I am, but in some ways and in many ways connect to people generally as well. So if I can find the way that people connect to each other through faith, through community, through art, those are the driving factors and vehicles in which I'm able to gather people to create change that I want to see, at least.
Oh, that's amazing. Because I feel like the world's so competitive that, when you have like meetings, like business like meetings, it's quite the opposite. It's like, okay, how can we outdo this company so we can make the main companies that are looking within, like the core is like, how are we different from that company? And like, how can we market? So as I said, like, I feel like everything you're saying, you're definitely like, you have a light on you. You have a very good vibe on you. So,
thank you.
And I think it's amazing how like you're 10 steps ahead of, most people your age, because your mom like teaching you about the business side and the artistic side and combining both of those together. I feel like your company is so complex and, there's so much to it. Would you mind just walking it down exactly what you guys do?
Sure. And I appreciate the question, because a lot of times people are very interested in the concept of the business, but don't really understand. But I think it actually breaks down into very tangible ways in which we are able to engage event management, event production, strategic planning. So I work with both organizations, institutions, businesses, churches, social enterprises, really to think about strategy. Again, I think I like to look at things holistically. So thinking about, well, what is the way in which we are going to implement the work? What is the way in which we are going to reach our goals? What are your goals? I ask a lot of questions in the work that I do. So I really partner as a consultant and a thought partner with my clients, whether they be individual artists, organizations, institutions, churches, businesses, to really think about, what are your goals? How do you want to reach your goals? And how do we create a plan to help you get where you're trying to go? So that takes shape in a lot of different ways. And that's why my day-to-day is not normal. There is no one size fits all to the work that I do with my clients. Some of them is just coaching. How can we set up some time to meet and talk about what it is that you're trying to do? And maybe I can share some advice or recommendations based on what I know, people that I know in my network, or possibly helping you think through some of the challenges that you're facing in a way that's going to help you reach your goals.
Oh, wow, that's beautiful. So if somebody that's listening, whoever has any interest, can they just reach out to you personally on your website?
They can reach out via social media, or they can, of course, visit our website, dgqculture.com. So they can also, again, set up time to meet with me individually or book services to support their work.
Perfect. And this is just me thinking outside the box. And while you do so many of those services, are you also able, like, if somebody, like, I don't know, like on the spiritual level, because you seem so confident in your faith, like, would you be able to like do like a life coach plan? If somebody just seems
maybe,
because that's pretty.
You know,
cool.
I try not to get into that aspect of the consultation. Maybe that's something I need to add to the services. You just help my business plan a little bit.
No, that's really cool because I feel like I travel a lot and there's like so many hotels that now are offering like random programs. Yeah. And I always think like, oh, I wish there was like somebody permanent, like in a permanent location that you can go to or get a vibe with. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's actually something to consider. I think I tried to stray away from that. Also, for context, people may not know I'm a licensed minister as well.
Oh wow!
So I try to bring the faith aspect to the work, but again, from a strategic point of view. So using faith as a strategy, and we could talk about this at a later time. I have a whole methodology that I've developed based on faith-based principles to help my clients achieve their goals. But I never really thought about that kind of service as a core service of the company. So I might have to look into that.
That's pretty dope. So does that mean like you can like marry people? Like you're able to?
We're working on it.
Oh, that's so cool. All right, Deonté, thank you so much. This was such an insightful conversation. I'm really intrigued. I'm definitely going to read more on your website. I learned so much today. I can definitely see you like on Oprah Soulful Sunday someday. One of my favorite watches. But yeah, so if you just don't mind sharing your Instagram and your website so people can reach out to you if they have any questions, if they want to hire you. Or
Absolutely. Like that, Absolutely. They can follow me on Instagram at Deonté GQ. That's DEONTEGQ, or my business account, DGQ Culture, DGQCULTURE, or follow us or connect on our website at dgqculture.com.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much for being on the podcast. It's been
Thank
a pleasure.
you.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for listening to Tariq Talk. Follow Tariq Talk on all social media channels and check out the video interviews online.